Oh, how's it going? How's it going on this glorious Monday? Now, I make no qualms about which political party I'm backing or which candidate I'm backing. I do so with with the most intelligent way I could go about it. While I am backing Trump in his presidential campaign, and I'm backing Trump in all of his legal issues, doesn't mean I want him to run. I wish there was a better candidate out there. I think his age is definitely getting up there. I mean, we're looking at Joe Biden. I'm sure everybody is aware of what's happening with Joe Biden's classified document case. How can someone be incompetent to stand trial? And it's not going to go well over juries, whereas Trump is guilty of the same thing. Actually, it's not the same thing, it's a similar thing. Because Joe Biden's crimes dated back when he was a senator. But yet he's incompetent to stand trial, but he's competent enough to run for president and stay in president. There's a lot of double standards. But one thing that's not a double standard is his story. Someone that's fully competent of their actions, fully competent to stand trial, and fully competent in her decision making. Yes, I'm talking about the Georgia DA in the RICO case against Donald Trump. Judge says DA in Trump election could be disqualified. Misconduct hearing must occur. Fulton County Judge Scott McAfee is considering voiding the subpoena for the testimony of one of the Trump's co-defendants until after another witness testified at the disqualification hearing. McAfee did quash a subpoena for Wade's bank records, which some defendants wanted to enter as evidence that he was paid for vacations. And with Willis, while investigating Trump, Willis' office has requested the judge to quash the subpoena for her, Wade DA office employees, and Wade's business associate, calling it harassment and a disruption. Well, you decided to have an affair. You decided to sleep with the person you hired. You decided to go on vacation and cohabitat with this person. But I don't know. I mean, this is. Let's see here. The judge says DA in Trump election case could be disqualified. Misconduct hearing must occur. That's bias insight. What does the right says? It's pretty much bias insight. Ooh. Let's see here. The judge. Let's see. This is from CNBC. They're centered. I know they're rated highly factual from ground.news, whatever that means. This was published Monday, February the 12th, updated 49 minutes ago. Trump Georgia election judge may force the DA to testify in disqualification hearing. See here, the judge in the Georgia election criminal case against Donald Trump seems to incline Monday to allow a subpoena for testimony of District Attorney Fani Willis in the upcoming hearing for potentially disqualifying her. Fulton County Judge Scott McAfee said Willis' testimony appears relevant to the bid by Trump and some of his co-defendants to remove her from the case due to her romantic relationship with a key subordinate, Nathan Wade. Trump and more than a dozen others have charged with crimes related to trying to overturn his 2020 election loss in Georgia to President Joe Biden. I mean, they're throwing everything at Trump. Let's hear the judge in Georgia, excuse me, in Georgia's election criminal case against Donald Trump seems to decline Monday to allow a subpoena for testimony of District Attorney Fani Willis, an upcoming hearing to potentially disqualify her from the case. She should be disqualified from office. Fulton County Judge Scott McAfee at the hearing said Willis' testimony appears relevant to a bid by Trump and some of his co-defendants to remove her from the case due to her romantic relationship with key subordinates Nathan Wade. Willis appointed Wade as special prosecutor for Trump's case. I don't see how a quashal can be imposed here, McAfee says, using the legal term for avoiding a subpoena. But McAfee said that he would hold on making the final ruling on Willis' request, void the subpoena for her testimony from one of the Trump's co-defendants until another witness, Terrence Bradley, testified Thursday at a disqualification hearing. Bradley is Wade's former business partner. McAfee also held off on ruling on motions to quash the subpoena for Wade and other employees of Willis' office on Monday's hearing. The judge did quash a subpoena for Wade's bank records, which some of the defendants wanted to enter into evidence to support their allegations that he paid for vacations with Willis while he was heading his team to investigate and prosecute Trump. Isn't that like the crux of their whole argument? That she's bribing this dude to do his job while sleeping with him? How they both got enriched over this case? I may be missing something here. Ashley Merchant, a lawyer for Trump, also co-defendant Michael Roman, told the judge we have the right to explore whether or not there was personal or financial benefit to Willis' relationship, and we have carefully chosen the witness that we have subpoenaed based off of that. Merchant dismissed the idea of relying on written affidavit by Wade in determining whether Willis and he should be disqualified from the case. This is nothing more than hearsay, Merchant said in an affidavit. She noted that in Wade's divorce case last year, can't speak. She noted in Wade's divorce case last year, he filed an affidavit saying that he did not have a relationship with anyone other than his wife, but later changed that to invoke the Fifth Amendment right against a disqualification. And across, the attorney who represents Willis at the hearing said McAfee should quash the subpoenas. I mean, of course they would say that. I mean, you're fighting to win your case in court. You got two lawyers trying to get to the truth. Well, you got one lawyer trying to get to the truth and do the best for their client. You have the other one that's trying to keep the information to the minimum to protect the other defendant. The defense is not bringing you facts. Sorry, I got a dry throat. Defense is not bringing you law. Cross argued the defense is bringing you gossip, and the state cannot, and the court should not condone that. But here's the issue. She brought the gossip herself by having this affair. Don't you want to know that if you do convict Trump, there's no legal ground for appeal because everything's on the uppity up? I'm just saying, I mean, you want to cross your I's and dot your T's in this case. Trump and more than a dozen others are charged with crimes related to trying to overturn his 2020 election loss in Georgia to President Joe Biden. Trump has pleaded not guilty in this case. I mean, does that mean moving forward, anybody that brings a lawsuit to contest any election is now trying to overturn their election? I'm just asking because that's what it looks like. It looks like crimes that weren't a crime 8 years ago, or 10 years ago, or even 20 years ago are now considered crimes because the defendant is Trump. Alternative electors are now a crime because Trump employed them. It almost seems like every little thing that Trump does, they're going to charge him for it until this election is over. If he wins, those cases are going to drop. If he loses, they're going to go forward. They'll probably not send him to prison, but he'll be financially ruined, or at least that's the hope. Any idea or any future bids will be quashed from him if he loses. That's my prediction. My prediction is just to get him out of the race. Although it's really helping his poll numbers. But there's only one poll that's going to matter. That's going to be in November. That's assuming that he actually wins the nomination. That assumes that when the primary season is over, the GOP actually picks him. Because there is a possibility that Nikki Haley wins the nomination because of shenanigans. It could be possible. And if the GOP does pick Nikki Haley, even though Trump wins most of the elections, they have more of the delegates, it's going to be a suicide move on the GOP. They're already on life support. I mean, Democrats kind of have it on lockdown, unfortunately. I don't know. It's just interesting. I see double standards here. You see Hillary Clinton with her email scandal. No prosecutors willing to prosecute. You got Joe Biden with his document case, not willing to prosecute because of his age and his mental decline. Although Fani Willis, is a sacrifice that they're willing to make. They're willing to throw her to the wolves in the illusion that not everything is one-sided. I'm pretty sure if she was Attorney General of the United States, they wouldn't be throwing her to the wolves. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, these are just my opinions based on the facts that the way I see them. Unless your name is Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden or part of the establishment of the political elites in Washington, you're going to get thrown to the wolves. There's a couple of not a couple of Democrats, but there's a couple of Republicans that are immune from prosecution. It's not just Democrats that are immune. There's the high-level Democrats and high-level Republicans in our government. They're immune from prosecution. And you got someone like Trump that's not part of that club, testing legal theories to get him off the ballot, get him in a criminal charge against him, while certain members of our government get away with pretty much murder. They get away with sending our troops, our brothers and our daughters into combat, killing them, all for their greed. I see this. Don't get me wrong. I see this. I normally don't talk about it, but I see it. I see the corruption. So I guess it's my question to the voters. Do you see this corruption? And are you going to vote the same? Are you going to vote the GOP candidate in your Senate election, your House representative, just because they have an R next to their name? Are you going to vote for a Democrat just because they have a D next to their name? Or are you going to actually consider maybe voting out the incumbents? You know, the Lindsey Graham, the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, the Lindsey Grahams. I think I said Lindsey Graham twice, but it doesn't matter. I think it's time that we start kicking people out of Congress. We do that by our votes. You may not think our vote matters, but our vote does matter. to an extent. Local elections matter. State elections matter. Federal elections matter, but not to the degree that local elections matter. My question is, are you going to look at this and vote for actual change? If your city is ran by Democrats, are you going to vote for the GOP? Maybe your city will improve. Maybe your city is run by GOP and it's not doing too hot. Are you going to vote for Democrats and maybe it'll improve? I don't know. These are just questions I have. These are just questions I have to the voters. With that being said, that is my video for today. And hopefully you all have a wonderful day. And hopefully you can answer those questions.